Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with weekly update number 30. Wow, 30. So it means we've done 30 of these since I took over editing and started this whole weekly update series. It's kind of crazy. And before we even move into weekend review, this will probably be the last one that I edit myself. So that's kind of cool thing, little milestone. So let's get into it. Weekend review. This is the section where I talk about things that happened this week, things that are coming up, stuff like that. And I'll start right off. So we got the media assistant hired, media whatever. I guess that's what we'll call it for now. But the person who's going to do all the editing for these weekly updates. They'll be doing cuts for social media, for our ads, things like that, and then hopefully helping create more original content and helping us extend the amount of content that we put out because it will be a force multiplier. I won't have to spend hours doing the editing and cutting and all that kind of stuff, which hopefully frees me up to help think up new stuff, work on other stuff that needs to be done around the warehouse, and should allow us to do a lot more cool stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not going to go into any more details until the ink is dried, since we're still in that, informal offer accepted phase. I want to make sure everything's good before I talk about anything else on that, but that is coming, and it's really exciting. Two other relatively big things happened. Earlier in this week, we got in our shipment of DSPIAE paint. I'm going to talk about during Restocks because it's restocking this week. But it was actually probably the most interesting paint shipment I have ever received. I've already been in touch with them. They're working on solutions for the future, for future shipments. But I've never had a paint bottle break coming to me from a supplier before. We've had a few leaks before, but never a straight out break. And in this shipment, we had 3 separate jars break. We had several leak. There were just outright, some of the boxes of paint, they're kind of cool in that they're packaged in these plastic cases, which is kind of a nice touch, but I don't think they protect things as well as they could have. And with these leaks and breaks, the plastic wrap that was wrapped around them was completely covered in paint, filled in paint. Some of it leaked out, got inside the plastic wrap for other paints. Total nightmare. I felt like I needed PPE just to open the rest of the shipment. I got through it. There's a few colors that won't be restocking because of it. And like I said, they're working on solutions. They found an issue in how they sealed the jars. The machine was not calibrated correctly or something, so that will be better. And hopefully they'll have an answer to the breakages. I'm a little bit anxious about shipping these out in the first place because if they broke coming to me in manufacturer cartons, then however I package them, there might be a chance of breakage. So we're taking some precautions on that, and hopefully we'll be good. But that stuff, really interesting issue. And again, I'll talk about the paints themselves in more detail during the restock section. The other really interesting thing that happened actually happened yesterday, basically. So I'm expecting 2 large shipments. The combined total of those 2 shipments is close to, actually it's 3 shipments, I guess. The combined total of those 3 shipments is pretty close to the size of that massive shipment I received about a month ago with our big restock in April. So huge, these 3 big shipments, or 2 big ones and a small one really. One of them shipped a couple days ago and one shipped yesterday. Yesterday as of the time that I'm recording this, so that was Wednesday. I expect one of them to be restocking next week and then the other 2 to restock the following week. But where this is really interesting is I've got a credit card that I use for all these purchases. It's on file with all my suppliers. The credit limit is not bad. It's not where I want it to be. I wish it was 3 to 6 times what it is. So when I get these big purchases, I have credit limit left and then I can pay it all down and all that stuff. And usually I'm just paying the card down as fast as I can to keep as much credit limit available. Well, I had only a little bit of credit limit left when these second 2 shipments shipped and they billed me. And apparently that credit limit is a suggestion because they went through. So it was really interesting to see how far above that credit limit I was able to go, and they still approved things. I'm hoping that doesn't impact my ability to ship anything out because that same card is what I normally use to pay for my shipping. I get billed, once or twice a day sometimes, depending on how many boxes we're shipping out. So that'll be interesting. If the card gets rejected, I can always swap to another card. But I was kind of like scratching my head because usually what happens is the limit gets hit. I get an email from my supplier that says, hey, card got denied. And then I have to either move money around or give them a different card to use or something like that when we get multiple big shipments in rapid succession. So everything's coming. We got really cool stuff coming in a couple weeks, including some of the seed master grades, Buster and Blitz, Assault Shroud, dual Assault Shroud, Justice Gundam. There's a few other master grades in that series that are coming. That will probably be restocking next week. And then the following week, I expect to get the other shipment, which is some of those and a few other items, including the Perfect Grade Mark II, both the AEUG and Titan versions, and some other good stuff. So it'll be really exciting when all those kits arrive. The next couple of restocks after this coming weekend should be really exciting with some awesome kits. So be prepared. We've got good stuff coming. And I guess that's it for week in review. So let's move on and talk about pre-orders. So this week we've got, I've mentioned this before, we do offer pre-orders. We don't do them via our website yet. I need to figure out the logistics of doing that and making sure we don't oversell and that people know the situation with pre-orders, so if they place an order with other items that are in stock, it won't ship till everything arrives, all that kind of stuff. So in the meantime, pre-orders are done by email. So feel free, if you want any of these items, email me, nick@mechawarehouse.com, and if we have any still left available for pre-order, we can get you an invoice and get you set up. But what we are offering for pre-order this week that we just opened up is Mega House stuff. So we're going to start carrying Mega House items. This includes the Archangel. I got to learn how to pronounce things before I start shooting the video. It's a hanger deck. It's a large, probably perfect grade price tag kind of item, but it's 1/144 scale hanger deck for your kits. We also have, I think, 4 different options for figures. Xeon soldiers. There are two separate, like regular Xeon soldiers in normal suits. There's a Char Xeon soldier, and then there's a set with all 3 of those together. I think there are numbers 4, 5, and 6 in that line. And then we also have, I think it's a desktop army. I forget the name of the girl, but it's basically one of those. I think it's another figure kind of thing, but it's robot girl, mecha girl kind of set up with girl with robot stuff and weapons and whatever. Looks kind of cool if you're into that. I'll hopefully posted pictures during all this, but if you're interested in that stuff, you can send me email, DM, however you usually contact me, and if we have any still available, I'd be more than happy to set up a pre-order invoice for you. So anyway, let's move on though to restocks. This week, restocks are very interesting, especially where none of them are technically restocks. It's all new items to Mecha Warehouse. If you've been watching our social media, you might already know what this stuff is. But first and foremost, we are now carrying Infini model or Infini Mulsan products. Specifically, they're sanding products. There's another related product line from the same company with other tools that we'll probably look into carrying in the future, but the sanding products are what we got in. So I don't have all of them here, but they've got various sanding sticks and sanding sponges, sanding like adhesive-backed sandpapers and sanding boards. They have some files. These are some clear files. I'm not 100% sure what makes the clear. Why clear is good, I guess, other than that you can kind of see what you're working on as you're working on it, which is kind of cool actually. So maybe that's what the thing is there. Various sizes, little sanding boards, things like that. And the other thing that really interested me in this particular shipment were these cutting boards. This is the Infini Easy Cutting. There's a type A, B, C, and D. I believe all 4 are completely different, but they're basically cutting boards for cutting out masking tape, I think is the intent. They've got little grooves on these lines that are carved into it for cutting different shapes to make it really easy to slide your knife through and cut, if you wanted to cut an arc or a circle, or, they've got different different shapes and types of grids that you can use, and really interesting stuff if you paint a lot and you're into masking and you're looking for a way to cut really interesting shapes out of your sandpaper. Seems like a really good way to do it. I'm probably going to consider grabbing one or more of these at some point for my own work. So these are really cool products. From what I've heard from people, people are really excited. I expect this stuff to sell out pretty fast. Thankfully, they're really easy to work with, so I should be able to restock really quickly if they do sell out fast, and we'll hopefully be able to keep that stuff in stock pretty consistently based on how easy they are to deal with. But the people I've talked to, some people swear by Infini products. They're really good sanding products, and to quote some people that found out last week that we were getting the stuff in, they're pretty much like, well, now I've got no reason to shop anywhere else. You've got everything I need. So I'm really excited to be able to provide everything somebody needs. Hopefully we'll be continuing to expand what we carry and fill more of those needs. But this is one piece of it, and one that I'm really excited about. The other one is DSPIAE paints. These have been very, very talked about. People are very excited about them. I mentioned these earlier in the video. So I got just a random jar here. These are lacquers. I guess they're benzene free, was one of their big selling points, which is, I think, a dangerous chemical you probably don't want to breathe in. I believe they're supposed to be pretty good. I don't know that a lot of people have used them yet because they're brand spanking new and they came out relatively recently. This is our first shipment of them. I didn't get as many as I probably should have. I was testing the waters. I didn't think it would take as long for them to ship as it did, but I figured I'd get a few, sell them, see what happens. A lot of people have been excited about them, and like I said, we had a few breakages, so there's a few colors we won't have in stock. We'll see how the stuff does, and hopefully they can figure out a solution to those shipping issues, and then we'll be able to get a much larger shipment in a few months once we figure all that stuff out. So that's really cool. If you're into paints, especially lacquer paints, might be worth checking out. But if you're interested in those, I wouldn't wait. A lot of DSPIAE products sell really fast. We don't apparently are unable to judge the right quantities to get and underbuy typically. So hopefully solve that stuff going forward. Anyway, let's move on to Q&A this week. So first question actually on the board here from WereBear76. Good to have you back. Quick question. Any plans to get G paint or DSPIAE paints? So DSPIAE paints, yes. G paint, I have no plans right now. Maybe in the future. Paint lines are tough. They take up a lot of space. There's a lot of logistics. A lot of listings have to be created. They're not the simplest products to carry. And so I have a lot of other paints that people have been asking about. Gaia Notes is the one that comes to mind as probably the next one that I will be worrying about and trying to get, because it is another very popular line that's already well established. We'll be trying to get more and more stuff. Try not to go too crazy though, because it is a lot of product to hold on to and track and manage and reorder and all that kind of stuff. All right, next question. Leath1 asks, question for you. So you plan on showing us your collection and backlog. This is where if I was well prepared, I would have shot this and maybe edited it in now. I do want to do a video on my collection and backlog. Maybe it's 2 different videos, I'm not sure. Hopefully now that I have somebody to help me editing videos and doing that kind of stuff, maybe I'll be able to shoot a whole lot of clips of that stuff, let it get edited up and voice over it all, and we'll figure that out, and that'll be cool. So maybe coming soon. Next question, Rolling Fire says, hey Nick, have you considered later in the future in your business to ship items outside of the USA, such as Canada or anywhere else? This is a good question. I have considered it. Especially early on, I was very seriously considering it just to try to get access to more customers, as I had, a few random Canadian people contacting me, for example, that were interested in the ability to sell to more people. Seems like a good thing, especially early on when you're trying to get products sold and you're trying to grow a business. My experiences since then have pushed me back the other way. I have shipped items to Canada maybe 4 times, something like that. A few giveaway prizes, a few other things, stuff like that. And the experience has always been a huge pain in the butt. I don't think worth it to me, and I don't think it's worth it to the customer, at least if I'm following the rules. And what I mean by that is a lot of there's like Canada, for example, there are taxes, duties, customs that have to get paid when those items come into the country. And some of those I can't even pay up front, so I don't even know what they're going to be. In one of these examples where I shipped an item to somebody in Canada, it was a giveaway prize back from like a year and a half ago when we did the Mecha Warehouse Choose Me giveaway. I sent them, I think it was a real grade Sotheby, and they probably paid like $30 in brokerage fees, or were asked to pay like $30 in brokerage fees on the other end. And when you're talking about, you know, a $40, $50 kit, paying $30 in fees on top of the shipping, it just doesn't make sense, especially if you don't know if you're going to get hit with those. In theory, you can get around that by claiming something as a gift. The shipping system I use doesn't let me do that. I probably could have done that on those items because they were technically a gift, but I can't do that for items that we sell and without breaking laws, international regulations, things like that. I know some places will ship internationally and play those games. I don't want to play those games. I want to stay above board and do everything by the book when it comes to shipping. I don't want to have any issues, get fined down the road, any of that kind of stuff. So it doesn't seem to make sense to me. I believe there are some fine Canadian stores. There's a whole Canadian distribution system. You should be able to get stuff in Canada, for example. Internationally, some countries may or may not have their own places, but it's the same thing where it's really hard to know what to charge for shipping. And it's really even harder to know what you might get hit with for fees on the other end. So thought about it. Maybe I'll reevaluate in the future when we grow enough that I maybe can assign that task of figuring that out to somebody, but it's unlikely to be anytime soon. And one more question here. Carlos Moreno asks, hello, sir. I've got two questions. Do you plan to expand your merch line, and any plans on opening the warehouse to the public in the future? Two great questions. So expanding our merch line, yes, we'll probably be adding new t-shirts soon at some point. I've got a design in the works very early. I don't even have like preliminary sketches, but I think we might have another t-shirt design at some point. We might have, I want to do enamel pins. I want to do hats. I want to do some other stuff, maybe masks at some point, although I guess people still need to wear masks when they're painting and stuff like that. So I do have some ideas for other merch that I want to create and sell, and we probably will do that at some point. A lot of it's just been balancing my time and, you know, a million different projects I've got going on. As far as any plans on opening the warehouse to the public in the future, yes and no. So long term, I want to open a retail space as part of the warehouse, and I think it'll be separate from the warehouse part to make it easy for people to come in and shop locally without disrupting warehouse operations. Because as we grow the warehouse, we're going to be doing more and more business online, more and more orders to pack and things like that. And having someone randomly walk through the warehouse and potentially move an item, like if you've ever been in nearly any retail store, when something moves from where it's supposed to be to somewhere else, it's kind of a pain in the butt. It's even more of a pain in the butt when you're trying to pack, 100 orders, 200 orders in a day or something. You don't want to have to deal with that. So I plan on doing that. I also plan on holding some sort of in-person event this summer. I'm really excited that the COVID numbers have been coming down really fast. Vaccinations are becoming more and more common. New Hampshire, our mask mandate is gone. We're starting to see people not wear masks places. Sometimes where I think they maybe should be, sometimes where it makes sense. And I think by midsummer, we will probably be like in the double digits or lower in terms of daily case numbers, and we'll probably be very comfortable getting together and not wearing masks and doing all that stuff because everybody will be safe, hopefully. So my plan is to start putting together that probably for July is my game plan. Maybe August, maybe late June. I have to sit down and start planning that out. Probably some sort of builder showcase, maybe not a build contest, so to speak, but let people bring their builds, share their builds, do some other events, maybe a speed build contest. Maybe we can get some sort of talk or panel thing going on, and just have a great like open house kind of event and let people come in, experience the warehouse, and enjoy some local community and stuff like that. And maybe people will be willing to take a drive for that because the world will be normal. normaler by then. So those are my plans in the short term. So I think that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have for questions today. So I guess I'll kind of end it here. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.